Hello.
Every
Mm.
time the countdown gets me.
Top 10
Welcome in to Top 10. I am D. Robi, and joining me is my better half, my Geronimo, as it were, Hollipop. Would you like to say hi, Hollipop?
Sorry.
That's your cue.
Um, that's my cue. Okay, all right.
When I
Yes.
introduce you, that's when you start talking.
Thank you for having me today. And you are my Geronimo as well.
Well, that's very nice of you to say. You may have noticed, or maybe you didn't, that Hollipop and I have been away from the store, Top 10 Video Store, for a few months. But we're back. We're back with a slightly new format for the show. And when I say slightly, I say completely new format for the show. Our earlier episodes focused on very specific chronological video rental top 10 charts from the late 90s when I worked at a mom and a pop video shop. And it was all about sort of revisiting that time period. And quite frankly, it bored Hollipop to tears.
Because we would go over like the same 10 movies at the
Yeah,
beginning every
unfortunately, a
time.
lot of the charts did not change very much in consecutive months.
Yeah.
And so it started out okay. We did almost a full year, and then it didn't. We were just having difficulty figuring out what movie we were going to watch.
We were
And
very
a lot,
limited to what we could pick, too.
yeah, we felt a little constrained. She felt like she didn't have as much agency in selecting any of the topics, even though I would give her the top 10 list and say, hey, what movie out of this would you like to watch? A lot of times she would say none of them. So uh, the new format going forward will be a more personal free for all.
Well, I also think that we wanted to sometimes we would watch a movie and be like, this would be a good movie to do a podcast on, but it
Yes,
wasn't within those constraints.
exactly.
So that's what kind of annoyed me about it. So
hmm Yeah, so now it's going to be a little bit more, not a little bit, a lot more of a free for all, and we'll introduce films to each other that we really enjoy, and it can be from the past when I worked at the video store. We're still going to do that. It can be from the present, a movie that we both watched and we really liked and want to talk about it. It can be a film from Holly's past that she would like to introduce to me.
I'm
So
trying to cover up that past.
yeah, so hopefully you're starting to come up with a list, because you're next.
I
This first
realized that this
episode
was going to be
is
homework.
yeah, this first episode is going to be my choice, and then the next one will be yours, and then mine, and we'll go back and forth like that until we get tired of this.
So I get tired. And
Uh, and again,
really, Roby's the one that gets tired of
straight
stuff.
up free for all. Anything can happen in these episodes. We should also mention that there will be spoilers. So for this movie in
Yeah.
particular, it's what, 30 years old. Going to be 30 years old
I
next year.
think it's fair game.
It's fair game. We can talk about all the spoilers.
And I think if you click on a podcast about a specific movie and you don't expect spoilers, then shame on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of spoilers, the film we're going to be talking about has been chilling out beside me here. I own it on both DVD and Blu-ray, which tells you something. Anytime I have a movie that I own on more than one format, probably means I like that movie. The title that I'm bringing to the table this month is a huge, huge favorite of mine that I first saw in the theater in the late summer of 1997. Conspiracy Theory, directed by Richard Donner, written by Brian Helgeland, and starring two heavyweights of the 90s. Not because of their actual weight, but because of how famous and popular they were at this time. Julia Roberts and Mel Gibson. Had you seen this movie before, Hollipop?
No, I know my dad had, and my dad said it was a really good movie, and I just never watched it.
Well, your dad had to love this movie, right? Because the central protagonist's name
It's Jerry.
is Jerry, which was your father's name.
And my dad was a little crazy. So, like, everybody, like, he probably thought, oh, this is like me. Because I know he like said, my initials are JC. Maybe I'm Jesus Christ. Like, he would, like, say weird stuff like that all the time.
Okay.
So, like, my dad was a little crazy like this Jerry. So maybe all Jerrys are crazy.
Maybe. Maybe. And they also mention another Jerry in this film, Jerry Garcia, the lead singer of the Grateful Dead. And Jerry,
who is on tour all the time because
he's in the CIA, don't you know?
and he never I guess he's not dead.
And apparently, yes, apparently he never died. Because he was dead at the time of the making of this film in 96. Look, I unabashedly love this movie. The critics were not kind to it when it first came out. I think Ebert was somewhere in the middle. But most of the critics raked this one over the coals and just said that it didn't live up to its potential and could have been such a great political thriller, and it just
What
turned
was their
into...
problem with it?
I don't know. I read some of the reviews, and it just seems like it was a lot of saying that the movie was too wacky. It almost was like it was too wacky for them. Like it was all over the place. It started off as one thing and it ends up as another thing, and then there was a romance, and then there's this, and
The character was all over the place, and I didn't buy that there would be a love story between the two because, I mean, she was very sane and with it. And he clearly, even though, you know, you find out why he is the way he is, he clearly has not just a few screws loose, but the majority of his screws were loose.
The majority of his screws were loose. But for a reason. There was a reason his screws were loose. Just to go back a little bit, I remember seeing this in the theater by myself. I went, because I would do this all the time, especially during summers when I was off of college. And this was probably early August it came out, I think, in 97. My semester had not started yet, and I went to the theater by myself and saw it. And I went back home, and my parents were huge fans of both Mel Gibson and Julia Roberts.
Because they look like... Your dad looks like Mel Gibson, and your mom looks like Julia Roberts.
Well,
you're like if you want to know what Julia Roberts and Mel Gibson's child would look at Robi. Look at Robi.
Yeah. Well, I'll take that. I will take that as a compliment. And I don't think I look like either Mel Gibson or Julia Roberts, but
you're an amalgamation of both of them.
My mom always said my dad looked like Mel Gibson. And one day, I don't remember what movie it was. It may have been this one.
This one, there's a side profile, and I'm like, oh my God, that's his mom.
It's kind of weird that from certain angles, my mom and Julia Roberts share some facial structure similarities there. So yeah, this is the movie that my parents apparently were the headlining stars of. So I went back home after seeing it. And I basically told them, look, it's rated R, but there's not that much stuff in it. You guys can go see it because they weren't big on the R-rated films. And so we actually went back as a family and watched the movie in the theater. I don't know if it was the same weekend or the next weekend. And I remember my mom getting very freaked out by the torture scene, and I think she got up and left the theater briefly.
Your mom's quirky that way.
And this was in the late 90s, so she was still,
They're going to be somebody gets a paper cut, and your mom's like, okay, I got to go. I can't handle it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got a great cast. Obviously, Gibson's leading it as Jerry Fletcher. We've got Julia Roberts as Alice Sutton. Patrick Stewart with a great turn as a villain, or is he? Dr. Jonas. And we have Silk Cozart, who has a relatively small part in here as the FBI agent Lowry. And I really love his character. He doesn't get much to do, but it's fun stuff. Steve Cahan, who's in basically all of Richard Donner's movies as the boss. He's in Lethal Weapon as the chief. And here he's as Alice's boss. And then we have Terry Alexander as Flip, the homeless guy, who also may be more than he first appears. So I guess we can just go through the plot of the movie, and we can talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and let's see how this shakes out. Conspiracy theory, see? So, opening credits, we've got Jerry driving through the city of New York, expounding his conspiracy theories. I kind of love this bit now because some of these theories that he just sort of half-asses have kind of been proven with some science, with some reports.
According to modern day conspiracy theorists.
According to modern day conspiracy theorists. Yeah, like the whole fluoride thing, how it does nothing for your teeth and actually, may or may not make you dumber, more pliable. That's one of the ones he throws out there. He's also got all the Nobel Prize winners submitting semen samples, and they're held in a vault under Rockefeller Center or something. It's pretty wacky. Supposedly Gibson actually ad-libbed a lot of these conspiracy theories, and yeah, fun stuff.
Which when he got pulled over, I think he was the same kind of way. He was kind of crazy like the guy. Just saying all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah, well, alcohol is an interesting drug. So the main plot revolves around this cab driver. He's paranoid. He's a conspiracy theorist. And he publishes a small newsletter that have his wild theories in it. NASA's controlling the weather. They're trying to assassinate the president with an earthquake in another country.
Which that's something like that apparently was like his big thing, but they never got back around to that. Like what happened with the president.
Well, yeah, you do. You hear the newswoman, played by Joan London, at the end of the movie. He says that the president just missed being involved in this earthquake was it Venezuela? I forget which country it was that he was visiting. But yeah, there was an earthquake there. And the president basically just missed being there in the middle of the earthquake. So, yeah.
I guess I just missed out on that part of the movie.
Yeah. No, they tie up a lot of this stuff. And they basically give Jerry a lot of credence here. So I don't know how much Richard Donner was into conspiracy theories, but he seems to enjoy them. And he actually has a cameo during the opening credits as one of Jerry's passengers in the back seat of his cab, which I always enjoy when directors throw themselves in movies, a la Hitchcock back in the day. So yeah, Jerry seems a bit unhinged, as Hollipop said. But his theories have at least some of them, have enough plausibility to leave you like, well, maybe this guy does,
Enough to make you say, huh.
Yeah, he seems to be doing his research here. It's easily one of my favorite Mel Gibson performances. Mel Gibson always played crazy guys. Lethal Weapon, Braveheart, guys who were hell-bent on revenge. But a lot of those, the character itself gets really dark. Where I feel like conspiracy theory, he's a little bit more of a lovable character, if that makes any sense. Like, yes.
He's kind of childlike.
Yes, because of that. Like, he seems like
crazy. He might be on the spectrum or OCD.
Possibly. Oh, definitely there's some OCD going on there.
But definitely maybe possibly the spectrum as well.
And yeah, because he's nuts, right? But there's an innate sweetness, kind of like the way he is around Alice. He's nervous and he's like clearly infatuated with her. And you can't quite. I feel like in a different actor trying to pull this off, it could have come off as creepy. And there are moments here where he's on the borderline of like creepy. But at the end of the day, I never went over and was like, okay, this guy's fucking, like she should not be in the same room with him. Like I never thought that. But
because out of everybody, he was protective of her.
Yes, there's clearly an affection there for her. His apartment is probably my favorite set here. The first time you see his apartment and you see his life, what he does, how he lives.
He locks his food, and then within his refrigerator, like the coffee has like a lock on it.
Everything has a padlock on it. And
imagine how annoying that would be. Well, I wonder, like, if his toilet paper had a padlock on it.
Look, that was exact thought that I had. Like, where does his toilet paper? Like, when he finishes a roll, does he have to unlock the cabinet, and if he forgets because he forgets the combination of the coffee at one point when he's offering it
Yeah.
to Alice.
But that's because Alice made him nervous. I don't think she's going to be in the bathroom.
Well, you never know. You never know.
It's true.
So
Modern
yeah,
day
he's
kinks.
it looks like it's tinfoil. They say crazy people have conspiracy
Tinfoil
theorists
hats.
wear a tinfoil hat, and it looks like his apartment is literally wallpapered with tinfoil. But in actuality, it's fire. It's basically something that is easily catches fire.
Like an incinerator.
Yes, because he does make his entire apartment go up in flames without damaging the rest of the building.
To cover up everything that he knows.
Right, all of the knowledge. He's got to get rid of it. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. One of my favorite lines he says is, to be normal, to drink Coca-Cola and eat Kentucky Fried Chicken is to be in a conspiracy against yourself. It's kind of deep. Think about it. Yeah, see, you're pondering. You're pondering. All right, our next lead is Alice Sutton, played by Julia Roberts. She's a Justice Department lawyer, and she is Jerry's reluctant confidant. He shows up in her office with bizarre rants. I think they actually have pretty good chemistry here. I know Julia Roberts was a hard sell. She did not want to do this movie. They offered it to a few other people. Not Goldie Hawn. Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster? I couldn't see Jodie Foster.
It was offered to Jodie Foster. She declined. It was offered to a couple of other big name actresses. They declined. And they really wanted Julia from the beginning, but she said no at first. And I know Mel Gibson and Richard Donner went on this campaign to woo her, to get her to do the project. Like, look, if you want us to beef up some scenes, we'll revise the script. Like, we'll do whatever you want. We just want you to be in this movie. And she eventually said yes. And Mel Gibson sent her a freeze-dried rat, supposedly, as a prank after she agreed to do the film. So, interesting.
That didn't make her back out of the project?
Apparently not. I love how she plays it at the beginning here. A really good, okay, she's tolerating him out of kindness because he did save her life several months before. We don't ever see this. We find out about it later, that she was being mugged and he saved her life.
Though, like one kind of quirky, crazy person that we kind of like, all right, yeah, okay, yeah,
Yes,
like we're just really nice to them, and like I think everybody has somebody in their professional life that they have to deal with that way,
Right. They would consider you one of their best friends, but you only consider them, perhaps something a bit more than an acquaintance.
Yeah.
But you go along with it because you don't want to be rude and you don't want to.
Yeah, just they're a minor inconvenience in your day.
I don't want to spend time with you, but you keep calling, and so.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be rude, so. Alice has a tragedy in her background. Her father was mysteriously murdered years earlier, and she was an avid equestrian. She rode horses. Her horse being Johnny Dancer. And so she's got trust issues. She's got a little bit of PTSD from, getting over her father's death, tragic death. And Jerry kind of uses that against her a little bit to keep her playing around with his conspiracies, because he always goes to her with these wacky ideas and, kind
of like I do with you.
Sure.
Wacky ideas I say to you, and then you tell me how unrealistic they are.
Absolutely. I want to make a very, very special note of Carter Burwell's score for Conspiracy Theory. It is one of my all-time favorite movie scores. It starts out and it's super jazzy and sort of almost like a throwback to big band music, even at times, with horns and, jazzy beats, and it's light and it's breezy. And then as the movie progresses, it dips into like melancholic, unrequited love pieces, and then there's like dark experimental moments where there's electric guitars kicking in, and then by the end there's like these huge symphonic swells that are just give me chills even after I've heard it hundreds of times. Absolutely one of my top 10 movie scores of all
It's
time.
crazy how music can like express so many different emotions and things without using
Yes.
any words.
Yep.
And it can evoke those emotions within you. Where
And
somebody could say something along the lines that those few notes brought, but it wouldn't mean anything compared to the
yeah.
music behind it.
Yeah, music's a big part of this film, not just the score, but Jerry basically stalks Alice.
Oh yeah.
And there's a scene where he basically pulls up outside of her apartment. She lives on like the fourth floor of a apartment building in New York, and he can see her through the window, and she's got a treadmill that she runs on every night, and he watches her. And in a particularly moment where, again, when I say it rides the line of like, okay, this is creepy as fuck, but then also
It's kind of sweet.
it's kind of sweet because of what he's saying. You know, we've heard him previously talk about how he feels about this woman to a homeless man, Flip on the street. He's the guy he gets his newspapers from, and you know he talks about Geronimo, that's what he calls love, and that it gives you wings, and he's like, oh, I got it so bad, and then when you see what it is, he doesn't even know this woman apparently, and that he's just watching her through the window like a peeping Tom.
He's even like he had music and tried to find exactly what she was singing, like
yes,
and because she would lip sync the words when she was on the treadmill, so he was like trying to play the music to what she was singing.
And he discovers that it is
"We're just too good to be true."
Yes.
Can't take.
Yes, and then he's singing it along with her in the car. I don't know, it's such a weird. Again, I feel like it's a. That's why I love this movie so much, because I feel like it rides the line between crazy stalker, disturbing, and then like just beautiful heartfelt moment, and it's like the moment is almost both of those things depending on how you view it, you know.
I mean, stalking is basically trying to woo somebody, but it turns into stalking when it's unwelcomed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like if you were watching me on the treadmill, we're married, I wouldn't think anything of it. But if you're watching me on the treadmill and I didn't know you,
and I had binoculars,
you had binoculars, and you were like,
yeah,
that changes it.
Yeah, I don't know, but at the end of the day, I love that scene, and then part of it is I think because of what the actors make of it. You know, if it had been miscast and there were different people in these parts, I think the scene could have been creepy and super awkward. But I don't know. For some reason, for me, all of it works like gangbusters. So Jerry releases an issue of his newsletter, Conspiracy Theory, once he gets all his latest paper copies here.
With 5 subscribers.
Yeah, he's got 5 whole subscribers.
Kind of
I like how he's got to think about that for a bit. It's like,
kind of like how many monthly listeners I have. It's 5.
And then it's 5. He is suddenly kidnapped by unknown forces. And this is where the movie takes its first giant twist. Because we think he's a complete loon up to this point. First 20 minutes or so of the movie. And then he gets kidnapped, tortured by a mysterious figure who we come to know as Dr. Jonas, played by Patrick Stewart. Great villainous turn by Stewart. He is a psychiatrist who apparently works for the government, some sort of government agency. He uses brutal torture methods here, and this is my favorite scene in the whole fucking movie. He tapes Jerry's eyelids open.
That's your favorite scene?
And has him, well, the most, this is the scene
watching his eyelids being
that
taped
truly grabbed me, and I was hook, line, and sinker. I was sold on this movie because I was not expecting it to go this dark, first off.
And Mel Gibson does an amazing job at acting that out.
They really did tape, obviously. I mean, you can't fake that. I mean, I guess you could now with CGI, but, you know, because have you ever just tried to hold your eyes open and you can't blink? Yeah, it starts to...
I can't even not blink without holding my eyes open.
Look, it's an impressive sequence, and it ends part of it ends when Gibson apparently almost bites off Patrick Stewart's nose. And this is the reason the movie was rated R. Richard Donner actually appealed the rating. He really wanted to get a PG-13 because he thought he could get a bigger box office. And he's like, man, I specifically didn't put a lot of F words in the script. There's not a lot of profanity. There's no sex scenes. And they were like, yeah, but there's that scene where he bites off that guy's nose. He's like, yeah, but he didn't bite it off. It was still there.
Just a little love bite.
But that whole sequence, I absolutely love. It almost becomes like this experimental film there. There's this crazy close-ups and out-of-focus shots. Gibson escapes, and he's pedaling with his feet in the wheelchair.
Then when he tumbles down the stairs.
And then he tumbles down the stairs. The guy flies out the window, and he's like, he's flying. And he's got like metal in his side, and it's a great. I love weird movies, and that's clearly the weirdest scene in the movie. But now we suddenly realize that Jerry's theories, there's something to them. Something is up with this dude. He's not completely crazy. And Alice starts to realize that maybe there's something real here too, because she goes to see him at the hospital because he shows up at her place with the wound. That's what it is. He shows up at her place and he steals a gun from a security guard, and that's another great scene where she calms him down. And he ends up falling asleep on the floor of the. When you talk about childlike, this was very much a.
Yeah, they arrest him and kind of put him in a psych ward, like a hospital, a medical psych ward.
Yes, and she shows up to visit him, and he's telling her, "You need to switch the charts. You need to switch the charts." And this is like a running theme through the whole thing because, he says, "If you don't switch the charts, I'm a dead man." And then the next morning, the guy that was in the room, the other guy that was in the room with him, is dead. Freak heart attack. Well, he says, "Thank you for switching the charts." And she's like, "No, I didn't switch the charts." And he's like, "Huh? No, you totally did, because he's dead and I'm not, I don't know. I just love all that interplay. So it sort of becomes a little bit of a cat and mouse chase after this, where Patrick Stewart and his thugs are attempting to get Jerry, because he didn't die, he's still alive, and Alice helps him get away, basically, from the first place, and she helps him in the laundry chute, and there's a bunch of great scenes.
And nobody's really on to her at first.
Exactly.
She's helping them.
Right. They don't realize that they have this connection until they go back to Jerry's place. And apparently they followed them some sort of way. We're not really 100% sure how they find Jerry's place, but we're just assuming that they follow them there. I love the scene where Alice gets to see Jerry's crib.
That's
Julia Roberts.
His crib was full of red flags. I mean, how many copies of Catcher in the Rye did he have?
Ooh, that's a big one. Catcher in the Rye. And what's funny is that there's the offhanded comments by the agent, supposedly an FBI agent, Agent Lowry, and one of the beat cops about how, was it John Hinckley, the guy who shot Reagan, was found to have a copy of Catcher in the Rye, and then also the guy who shot Lennon. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think those are the two guys. I love how the movie throws in like real conspiracy shit with, some more outlandish things. It's a nice blend of conspiracies here. All right, but yeah, Jerry's crib is quite something. And when they get attacked and he has to bring her down into the basement or like a lower level of his place, she discovers that, because he has like an escape tunnel or something.
It's a hatch.
It's a hatch, but
it's like the hatch in Lost.
They go down into another room, and she sees this very elaborate painting of which she is the center. Because we discovered Jerry is a very talented artist. Like, he's done sketches of horses that we see, and then we realize that he's also a painter, and he has this elaborate thing that he's painted. She is at the center of it on her horse, and she's like, Jerry, what's this? And he's like, one of my favorite lines. Oh, that was here when I moved in. I mean, that's good shit. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. It's good writing, and it's all deadpan. It's not really played. It's not, they're not trying to make jokes. It's just like, he's just trying to get out of getting caught there.
No, Mel Gibson is a good actor. Like the pain scenes, like he really like sold me on like how painful it was to pull that thing out of him after he got that.
Oh no, he's very talented at expressing pain and also dishing out pain.
Yeah.
To other characters. But yeah, it's great. So they do escape. They escape and they go to Alice's place. And this is where she kind of goes off on him because she's like, you were fucking nuts. Like you cannot be in this house. You are a stalker. Get away from me. Very understandable. Have you ever had a stalker?
Have I ever had a stalker? Well, I had one girl when I was in my freshman year of college. I walked out to my car and there was a note on my car and it said, "I think you're really pretty and I like to hang out with pretty people. Do you want to hang out with me sometime?" And I actually wasn't scared. I was actually, oh, that's so sweet. Somebody wants to be my friend. And they said that I was pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So I hung out with her until she ended up like having to go into witness protection or something because her boyfriend was a drug dealer. I don't know. But she was sweet.
Okay.
But as far as like a stalk, I mean, like people from former relationships, yes, I have had some stalking from former relationships.
Okay. Well, I feel like just the fact that she left a note on your car is creepy in and of itself.
I really wanted friends though, because I had just moved to Mississippi and I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
So I guess I was desperate for friends, but I don't know. I kind of wish I could talk to her now to see what she's up to.
Yeah. Interesting.
Maybe I could stalk her. I don't even know if she's got the same name though, because I think.
Yeah, there's something about the note that says you're pretty. The way it also starts off with, I think you're pretty and I like to hang out with pretty people. That's weird. Instead of like, hey, I was going to wait by your car. We have the same class together and I was going to try to talk to you there because, you seem like a cool person.
I don't even know if we had any classes together.
There's a lot of ways you could have written that letter that wouldn't have come off as, I want to kill you. You're pretty, and I like pretty people. I like to hang out with them. Yeah, that's weird. And speaking of weird, Alice digs deeper. She starts investigating the people who have subscribed to Jerry's newsletter. There's only 5. She discovers that 4 of them have been killed, and 1 of them is still alive. And in another twist...
Do you think that one that's still alive was the people that were watching him?
Well, yeah. It turns out to be Patrick Stewart. You don't remember this?
So the fact that she called kind of probably alerted them to that she knew.
Well, yes, but they already discovered this when they see the painting of her in his apartment.
But that doesn't indicate that she was aware of it.
No, not necessarily, but it does indicate that there is a connection between the 2 of them. And so Patrick Stewart is already tipped off by that. But I thought they were
the ones that kind of made the connection because they put him to kill the father, right?
Yes.
So
well, this is what happened.
They knew about the connection.
She goes to the 5th subscriber of his newsletter, and this guy works at this big high-rise place, like this nice office. She goes to the office. Patrick Stewart walks out. So now she knows Jerry is not lying about any of this shit. And so Patrick Stewart flips this to his advantage. And he basically tells her the truth up to a point. He basically makes her assume that Jerry killed her father. So she is now team Jonas. Fuck Jerry, he killed my dad. I'm team Jonas. So they do this whole scheme to sort of catch Jerry. And he orders pizza for her. There's this whole deal where it's just there's great scenes.
They didn't hide the bug very well in the pizza.
They did not. He takes the one piece out, and she's like freaking out. It happens to be the
piece the bug was under.
Well, they put it right in the middle.
Yeah,
right in the middle. So no
Like, kind
matter
of make a
what
piece that
piece,
doesn't have as much cheese that nobody wants to grab and, like, put it
exactly.
kind of under that.
Yeah, they put it right in the middle, so no matter what piece you grab, you're going to see the bug.
Yeah.
Kind of sucked. I think they thought he wasn't going to eat the pizza at all, but
I mean, I would. If I was running around from the government and I hadn't eaten at all, I would be like, "Oh, pizza, yes."
yeah, yeah. But I think it was a great twist. It's another roadblock in their evolving relationship of him going from crazy person who she's just sort of humoring to someone she's actually starting to care for as a person, and like he's not lying to her. He might be crazy, but he's not. Maybe he's not as crazy as I think.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really buy that somebody. I believe she would care for him, but not to the point to put herself in as much detriment as she put herself in.
Well, you have to
'Cause-
remember though, and maybe that's part of the reason why, because they didn't show the scene when he saved her life. Because I feel like if that had been the beginning of their relationship in the film, you know what I'm saying? Like
Then maybe we would buy that connection better.
she felt that she owed him because he saved her life, you
Yeah.
know? And so now his life is in jeopardy, and she realizes that, but at this point she thinks that he killed her dad, so she wants to kill him. Like she thinks he is the villain of the piece. And there's a great scene where they're driving together, and he's switched cars on the bridge, and so they no longer have the bug. And it's the climax of the film, really. This is when he has the whole line about the serial killers having two names and assassins who are successful having three names. You always know the middle name of an assassin.
Did we even find out Jerry's last name?
Fletcher.
Jerry Fletcher. Okay.
Yeah, we never find out his middle name, though. She does ask him what his middle name is. When he says this, she's like, "What's your middle name, Jerry?" And he's like, "What? What? No, and again, a great scene. A lot of people say it's a little bit contrived because, of course, but it makes sense that when he's at the location where the event actually happened, his memories start to come back about that incident. And so he remembers that he didn't actually kill her father. And she's like sort of his anchor to reality in that moment. And it's a great emotional scene, I think, between the two actors. And she tells him that she believes him, and gives him a hug. I still never feel like, yes, he is romantically infatuated with her, but I never really vibe that she is romantically infatuated with him. Like
So you think, okay.
I think by the end of it, when she tells him she loves him, I think she truly does, but not
As a friend.
necessarily as somebody that
She
she's going
friend-zoned him.
to. Yeah, I don't think she's gonna get together with him unless, of course, there's a sequel or something. But a great line here because Jonah shows up, kidnaps Jerry, is attempting to kill Alice. There's the whole helicopter chase deal, and there's the scene where Mel Gibson looks out at the window and sees her running with the spotlight on her, and he says, "You've never seen her run." And again, it goes back to the scene that could have been stalkerish and weird, but actually was kind of sweet. And I don't know, it's just good writing. Like things start paying off that you saw earlier in the film, and the smokestacks that you've been seeing throughout the film that clearly have some resonance that's in Jerry's paintings and stuff, they come into play in the final act of the film, because this is near the mental institution where he has been taken and programmed, and it is called Jermaine O'Nichols Mental Institution.
Was that a true mental institution that they filmed that, or?
I do not know. But yeah, Alice sort of becomes the primary plot driver. She's the protagonist at some point. After Jerry gets kidnapped, the last bit of the film, she starts to do some detective work to figure out where Jerry is. And she sort of teams up with the FBI guy who turns out to not be an FBI guy. We didn't even mention the whole scene where he tries to knock the guy out and he was pretending, and then she knocks him out.
Yeah, that's why I like the guy. Like he hit him over the head, and he's like, "Are you knocked out, or are you just pretending?" And then the guy wakes up, "I'm just pretending," and then he hits him again.
Yes. It's good stuff because you actually made the comment, wow, it's so easy for people to knock people out in movies. And I'm like, wait. So they were kind of riffing off of that as well. Like, yeah, this happens in action movies all the time. Some of these people might be faking. So Alice discovers that Jerry is being held at or maybe being held at the Germain O'Nichols Mental Institution. And she sees on the bags as they're arranged, the laundry bags, it spells Geronimo. Like if Jerry had seen this, through his confused state, when he was pumped up full of LSD, it makes sense that he saw the sign of this place and read it as Geronimo. And so she's basically about to give up trying to find him in this place. And then there's the vent scene, which a lot of people say is a ridiculous, far-fetched scene, and there's no way in hell that you would have been able to hear him singing. But look, by this point, I'm buying what they're selling, and I think the two actors make the scene work. Yes,
it's a movie. You're supposed to use your imagination.
It's a movie, and it's I thought it was
a fictional story. So who
cares? It's
a
fictional
if it's
story.
Realistic or
I
not,
thought it was. I thought it was lovely. It's funny. It's a funny scene because Gibson's drugged up and he's on the floor, and she's like, "Jerry, where are you?" And he's like, "I'm here." And she's like, "Where's here?" And he's like, "On the floor." Doesn't help at all. But then he sees the reflection of the smokestacks in the reflection of the light, and so they sort of figure out where he might be in the abandoned part of the institution. And there's a face-off scene. Jerry tries to drown Jonas with a mop handle, and unfortunately, he is shot multiple times. Alice saves the day,
but Jerry is shot too.
Kills Jonas. Jerry's shot first. Then she kills Jonas.
She unloaded on him.
She unloaded.
She didn't just shoot him once. She just went.
No, she finished the clip.
Yeah.
In Patrick Stewart's torso. That was all.
Yeah, he was definitely dead.
And again, I will give props to the film, a 1997 movie, not giving the big heroic moment to Mel Gibson, who is the lead actor here. They're giving it to Julia Roberts. Like, she actually saves the day and saves Jerry's life. And
it was teamwork.
Sure, but I'm going to give it kudos to that. With all the people who are like, we never had strong female characters until 2020. Like, fuck you. Like, there were strong female characters in tons of films that I watched growing up. So that's just bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. And Julia Roberts saves the day here and gives the best performance here as Jerry is dying in her arms. This is the second time Jerry is in her arms in the film. And the first time he is falling asleep and he feels comfort, like it's like a warm hug. And the second time he actually dies in her arms. And her performance here is it's a great ugly cry. It's a great.
Yeah, Julia Roberts is really good at that.
Yeah. Good stuff. Her and Claire Danes, very good at ugly crying. And this is the point where you realize the journey that these two characters have come along throughout the film. From the awkward early encounters of like, I'm just dealing with this dude, he annoys the shit out of me, to here where she's screaming out in agony or in anguish rather, because the life is slipping out of him as she holds him. I don't know. I get emotional every time.
Well, she thinks.
Every time. And then the next where she's at his grave and she says, I miss your face. It's not, and like I said, it's not so much a romantic thing. You can read that into it if you want, but I feel like it's like, okay, this dude truly loved me. I may not have returned that affection the way he had it, but now that he's gone, I miss his face. Like, I don't know, good shit. And because of all of this, she gets over her issues with riding, because I think that was something her and her dad had in common, her dad with the horses and stuff. So she gets she
got back on the proverbial horse.
Yes, literally. This isn't a proverbial horse. This is straight up Johnny Dancer. And she once again mounts Johnny Dancer, her old horse, and begins to ride again. This is one of my favorite bits of score from Carter Burwell. The swell here is fantastic. And then there's this beautiful shot of her reflection, her riding the horse in the reflection of what we realize is a car window. And the window comes down, and we realize that Jerry is, in fact, still alive,
Had an IV bag hooked up to him.
connected to an IV bag. He is now under witness protection, and he's watching her from afar.
With a guy that we thought was an FBI agent, but it turns out he's not. It was an agent that was watching over the government agency that was trying to kill Jerry.
Yes, a mysterious movie agency that is never really named.
Yeah, they're like the oversight.
And so the whole idea is that Jerry has to let Alice believe that he is dead to keep her safe until they can get all of Jonas's organization arrested and taken care of. So the ending is very bittersweet. You can say it's romantic. You can say it's, a tragic sacrifice or whatever, but Jerry's love is very genuine. But whether or not Alice will ever fully have him in her life again, is left up to the audience to decide.
Well, I read into it that he chose for her to be safe and to have a happy life and not be in contact with her.
Yes.
And he just moved on with it.
But they do make that little comment where he's like, at least for now, you can't make any contact with her because we need to get, we need to make sure she's safe. So, what are you going to rate conspiracy theory? 1 through 10.
Pressure rating. Okay, well, I didn't sleep, so it's above a 5.
There you go.
Would I rewatch it again? Probably not. So it's going to be between 5 or 7. So I'm going to give it a 6.
Wow. Okay. And you give it a 6. I'll say this. I've seen this movie a lot. I watched it twice in the theaters. I watched it probably on VHS a couple of times. I watched it on DVD several times. I've watched it on, this is the first time actually that I've watched it in HD. And every time I enjoy the shit out of it. I laugh. I get emotional at the end. And it's just a very seminal moment of my young adulthood life when I was in college. And I don't know, all the movies around this time really are still impactful to me whenever I watch them. And so it's way up there for me. I'm going to go 9 out of 10. It's not a perfect film. I know it's not a perfect film. I think the first half is way stronger than the last half. It gets a little bit muddled in the middle there with Patrick Stewart and all the shenanigans that are happening. But I think Roberts and Gibson are the anchors to this. And as crazy as the plot gets, Carter Burwell's score, again, one of my top 10 favorite movie scores ever. And just that fact alone would put it in the upper echelon for me. But yeah, I'm going to go 9 out of 10. So yeah, any final thoughts on conspiracy theory before we bid everyone adieu?
Here's a question. Do you have any conspiracy theories that people would consider a conspiracy theory?
I mean, I do agree with some of the established conspiracy theories, like JFK. I absolutely don't think Oswald was alone, not just because of Oliver Stone's movie, but primarily because of Oliver Stone's movie. He's also mentioned in this movie.
I mean, and just in the footage when he said, "I'm just a patsy." I mean, like, why would somebody that killed the president say that? Because most people that kill the president would want recognition from that, you know?
Absolutely. And here's the other giant thing. The fact that he was assassinated by
Jack Ruby.
Jack Ruby, of all people, a nightclub owner, like
who was dying of cancer.
Yeah, it's just very.
Yeah.
There's too many strange.
It is strange
circumstances surrounding that for it to be just the way that they said it happened. That's how it happened. I don't. I disagree. I've looked into the whole fluoride thing, which Jerry mentions, and there is some science to back this up. Not a whole hell of a lot of evidence that fluoride is great for our teeth.
I don't know. When you look at Americans' teeth, though, compared to some other countries.
But is it because of the fluoride, or is it because we just have better dental hygiene? We go to the dentist more often. I don't know.
There's so many variables that are taken into consideration.
Go down the rabbit hole.
And there are some variables that to take into consideration for it not to be the fluoride too. So
sure.
It's hard for me to ascribe to that
conspiracy, but just all of the idea that plastics in our environment, in landfills and things that have seeped into the ground and then into the water that we have consumed.
I read a comment on Facebook today. I'm sorry, I have to bring this up.
Go for it.
There is this lady. She lived in St. Charles Parish, which is Cancer Alley. She was asking a question on the community page, because I work in St. Charles Parish, so I'm on the community page. She was saying, I used to love to put my meat in Ziploc and freezer safe Ziploc bags in the freezer, but now I hear they cause cancer. And then one guy just commented, "You live in Cancer Alley. I think you're safe."
Yeah, well, or you're not safe. That's probably the better statement.
I think it doesn't matter, really.
That's not going to do anything.
And that's the thing about fluoride. I mean, we are pretty close to like one of the most cancerous areas in the country.
Yeah, exactly. So the odds of us not getting cancer at some point are pretty slim, probably. But yeah, I'm a big fan of conspiracy theory, and I enjoyed getting to share the film with you, my Geronimo. And so I miss movies like this. I miss movies that stick with you, like quotable movies that have well-developed characters who you feel like you got to meet new people by the time the movie's over with. And it wasn't just like,
I feel like this happens in TV shows more often than
of course
movies
it does, because
now.
you're actually spending a lot of time with these people.
Like The Rookie. I'm like, oh, what's Nolan up to?
Yeah. Yes. Well, they become like part of your extended family because you've spent so much time with them. That's why I'm so impressed with movies that can do that in like 2 hours time. If you can watch a 2-hour movie and then here we are nearly 30 years later, at least me anyway, still enjoying the same movie, still feeling those same feelings that I first felt when I watched it way back in 1997. I don't know, that's pretty special.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. And that's what Top 10 Video, hopefully, will be about going forward. So do you have any ideas of what your first film that you're going to bring to the table will be?
Well, you say I don't cry that much at movies. So I think I'm going to show you the first movie. Like, if we can find it, the first movie that made me cry was Cocoon.
Oh.
So maybe we could watch that together.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. The next episode of Top 10 Video will...
if we can find the movie.
Well, we could find it. I will find Cocoon. And in fact, I want to say there's like some sort of new release of Cocoon.
Really?
Like, I think it just came out on 4K or something. I'm going to have to check into that. We did watch Conspiracy Theory. Probably should have mentioned this earlier. On the official Blu-ray.
You tried HD, but your HD player's jacking up.
Yeah, well, we were originally going to go with a different film, but that'll be for my next one. We'll save that one. Alrighty, folks. From Hollipop, I am Robi, and we will see you next time on Top 10 Video.
Bye.
Peace. The Top 10 Video podcast is produced by D. Robi and is a part of the Introverse Podcast Network.